to another 1,000 Below collaboration. Our guest artist this month is Britta Clayton, and she decided that the challenge for this month would be using pigments and how to mix them. And this is one of my favorites. This is Frost. Today we're going to talk about how to mix it. I'm going to start by mixing it today like a paint. So I'm gonna take a little bit of Golden GAC 100. So I do keep my GAC 100 in a little squeeze bottle here. That way I don't have to deal with the lid. And I will just take some in the bottom of a cup. Just a small amount, and then I'll take my little piggy paddle and I'll scoop it in there. And one thing you want to do when doing any pigments, no matter the brand, you want to wear a mask. So I'm putting a mask on because as much as I like these guys and they're beautiful, I don't want them in my lungs. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? So I didn't measure that. I don't measure this. I just take a good healthy scoop, maybe a tiny bit more. Cap it up, and then I'm going to mix it to incorporate. And I will leave my mask on until all my pigment is wet. That way there's no chance of it going up in my lungs. Now, if you're doing some of the neon piggies, they're a little bit harder to incorporate. I just mix them up just like I'm doing here, and then I let them sit overnight. It seems like they need a little extra time to bloom, I guess is what I'm gonna call it. Okay, so I've got my piggy mixed in there. Then I want to make it a paint, the consistency of like a tube paint. So to get that, I will add some gel medium. And this is what I just happen to have right now. This is Saks, and it's really affordable. But I've used all gel mediums. So I actually have some poured out into a smaller container, and I will give it a blop or a glop or a gloop, whatever you want to call it. Again, not measuring. That was a little small. I'm gonna go a little bit more. There, that looks about right. The more you do it, the more you just kind of know. It's just kind of a large blob. Can you see there? So now I will incorporate those together. And this is what I do when I am making it for use as a paint. Like if I'm gonna use it in a cloud over, a Dutch pour, this is the way that I like to incorporate it. If you're doing it in a bloom, Joe Sonia works well. But this is the way I do it most of the time, just based on how I paint. So, and there we have it. You can see how thick that is. And look how pretty that is. Now I add pouring medium to this of 50% Floetrol and 50% GAC 800. So can you see these guys? So I do half and half of these. I keep this mixed up at all times. So I have it here in my squeeze bottle, and I don't measure. I'm gonna eyeball, and I want to do, I'm gonna start off with about equal part of the paint to the pouring medium, and then see where I'm at. I don't know why I do it this way, but this is what I do. I try to do equal parts, get it mixed up good, and then I go in with about 1/4 more. Okay, so there we go. Now, depending on what technique I'm going to do next, I would determine if this is the consistency I want. If I was doing a really thick pour, I would not have added that little bit of extra pouring medium, but I know that this is gonna go into a Dutch pour, and I can decide if that's a good consistency or if I want just a little thinner. What I'll do is I'll compare it to all my other I have mixed up, and I'll try to match it. So if it's a little bit too thin, I'll add some more of the medium, the gel medium. If it is too thick, I can add some water. For time's sake, I did not show you covering the canvas. I am reusing a canvas, and this gorgeous blue paint here is a collection of drips that all made this great color, and I like to reuse them, so I've got this gorgeous base. I'm gonna do a chaos Dutch pour here. So I'm taking just all my colors and randomly putting them on in the pattern that I think I want on the canvas, and then I will blow it out. Now we are going into our blowout. Even though this video is sped up for time, I do want to emphasize that you do not have to rush through your blowout. Just a moderate speed, steady. You don't have to fly through it. So this painting is kind of going a different direction than I was hoping. I was really wanting a lot more negative space, but I didn't like the way that blew out. Now I've got a ton of paint on the canvas, so I think we're gonna add some texture over this. I'm gonna show you guys how I mixed up molding paste for the top of my painting. And I decided to go with some of Golden's light molding paste. I wanted something a little bit lighter, a little bit more maneuverable. So what I'm gonna do is take a little cup here, a little takeout cup left over, and I'm just going to put some in here. And I tell you what, guys, this looks just like a buttercream icing, but I bet it doesn't taste the same. So I know I'm gonna need more. What's great is if you do make too much, this will keep in this to-go container. You can save it and use it in another painting later, as long as it's really good and airtight. Okay, so now I've got my piggy, and this is how I'm gonna tint this. You can tint this with paint, you can leave it as is. You can tint it with pigments, so that's what I'm gonna do today. This is that frost again, and I am going to put on my mask because I don't wanna breathe in the pigments. And now I'm gonna take my piggy and add some in there. And when I'm doing this, I like to use the small paddle. This would mix it up really good, but I think I'm just going to take and scrape this off here. I like feeling like I have just a little more control, but I don't want to waste any. We'll lay that to the side. And you can see here kind of what we're looking at, and I'm just gonna mix this in. And I go kind of slow because I don't want the pigments flying up in the air. So I'll continue to mix this up a little bit more, but you can kind of see what it ends up looking like. And that'll have a really gorgeous shimmer when it dries. And we will apply that to our canvas here in just a minute. Now I'm ready to add my modeling paste on my canvas. Now that I have my tape pulled off, I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then we'll go on with our next layers. Now I have taken my leftover blue frost piggy texture paste and I have added some paint to it. I added the iridescent silver by Pebeo. It's hard to see in the video, but by taking that leftover molding paste with the pigment in it and mixing it with the iridescent silver paint, it created this gorgeous blue-green shimmery silver color. And actually it is my favorite one on the painting. I think it is so gorgeous up close. Here are our dried results. I wish you guys could see this in person. The shimmer in that molding paste is just phenomenal. Can you see it there? I'm loving that. Be sure and follow the link below to watch everyone in this collaboration. Thanks Britta for being our special guest, and thanks to the entire group for letting me participate one last time, as I've gotten my numbers over 1,000 now. And I have all my subscribers to thank for that. I'll see you next time down on the canvas.